As the MLB season moves along and we watch as certain teams become set to make a playoff run and hope to win the World Series in the coming November, we also have the many teams that need to look at their current state and look deep into their roster and realize that they need to start selling some of their better players and set up for a better future than having a better present. Before we jump into today's video, 94.8% of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel, so if you're a part of that 94.8%, please take a second to press the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And with that being said, let's jump right into today's video. To kick off the topic, let's just jump right into talking about, in my opinion, the worst MLB team of all time, the Oakland Athletics. First, let me shut something down that I think should not even be in the conversation for the A's, and that is selling off Brent Rooker. Now, Rooker might have the most value in the trade market as of now out of any player on their roster, but Rooker is still in his arbitration years and won't be set to enter free agency until 2028. If you're the A's, I know that you're looking out to when you're playing in Las Vegas, and you hope that's when you're going to have a more competitive team, and Brent Rooker could still be there, and that's why I believe you need to hold on to him and hope he can still be a good player, as we saw a flash earlier this season of how great he could be. But he is still playing alright as of now, as he still has 13 homers and a 138 OPS+. Now that I've expressed my opinions on Brent Rooker, let's look at the rest of the roster and look into some people that I want to see moved by the A's. Looking at this roster, not many of these people have any value in the market, so they might not be able to even move some of these guys. But looking at the expiring contracts, you have Trevor May, Jesus Aguilar, Tony Kemp, and Manny Pena. And then you also have Ramon Laureano, who I think is interesting because he has one more season of arbitration before hitting free agency in 2026. I could see a package where both Tony Kemp and Ramon Laureano get moved together somewhere to a team that needs some outfield depth, and maybe even a utility guy like Tony Kemp. Other than those two, I don't know what the A's are going to sell off, but obviously they're going to look to make trades because they are not in a good state as of now. Moving on, let's look at the worst team in the National League in the Washington Nationals. The Nationals are in the same boat as the A's, where they have little value on their roster currently, but I could still see some moves coming out of Washington. The first player that is going to be moved is Jeimer Candelario. Now, I didn't say I expect him to be moved, I said that he is going to be moved, because I believe there is no circumstance where he doesn't get traded, because he is having an under-the-radar decent season. Candelario currently has a 117 OPS and has posted a 2.3 WAR, but he does hit free agency after this season. Now that I've got the obvious move out of the way, let's move into other possibilities. First, I want to look at Victor Robles. Lots of people think he could be moved at this deadline, but I don't see it happening. He does have one more season of control after this, but he's only played in 36 games this season and has been struggling with injury, and I think there's little interest in him in the market, and I think he stays on the roster. The only other move I see coming from Washington is most likely trading away reliever Carl Edwards Jr. Edwards is set to hit free agency after this season and has been a very effective reliever over the past few seasons, posting a 142 ERA plus last season and a 115 ERA plus this season. Now, the next two teams I'm going to talk about, I don't think are going to completely sell everyone off, but more of a retooling, but they still could sell off some of their talent, so I'll talk about it. The first of two is going to be the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox currently sit in 4th place in the AL Central with a 32-44 record and 5.5 games back of first place. 5.5 games back might not sound bad, but let's be honest, even if they win this division and make the playoffs, they would get first rounded with this current roster, so that's why I think they should retool and get rid of some of their players. The first player the White Sox should look to move is Lucas Giolito. Giolito has had plenty of name drops and trade talks circulating lately, and I think the White Sox should ship him out during his bounce-back season he is currently having, as he is set to hit free agency in 2025. Giolito would be a great arm for any team looking for more starting pitching, as he currently has a 3.54 ERA and a 124 ERA plus in 86 innings. The White Sox could get back some really good prospects in return for Giolito, and that's why I think they need to get rid of him. Now looking at the rest of the roster, it's kind of a mess and you really don't have much direction in this organization right now, but I'll throw out some names that I could see being packaged elsewhere. First guy I could see getting moved is Lance Lynn. I could see Lance Lynn getting moved to another team that needs some pitching, and they could just hope that he can turn around this bad season he's having and return to usual Lance Lynn. Same goes with Tim Anderson, as he has another year of control after the season, but he's currently having his worst season in the majors with a 61 OPS+. The final name I could see being moved from the White Sox is Joe Kelly, who just like the last two has one more year of control after this season, and he's having an alright season as of now, as he's posted a 101 ERA plus and has a 2.7 FIP in contrast to his 4.37 ERA, so he could be an interesting trade piece come the end of July. Now let's transition to my final team of today's video, and the one that's going to hurt me the most to talk about, which is the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals are currently having their worst season in around 25 years, as they are currently 31-44 and are in a huge limbo of a position. So let's jump into this situation. Now I'm going to start this off with something that might be controversial among Cardinals fans, and just throw it out there that I want to see both starting pitchers Jack Flaherty and Jordan Montgomery get moved this deadline. Trust me, I know that the pitching is the problem in the Cardinals, and I know that we need more pitching on this team, but I want to see Jack Flaherty and Jordan Montgomery get moved and then bring up Michael McGreevy and Jake Walsh and hope they can pitch out the rest of this season for him. Along with this, they could also bring up Steven Matz back to the starting rotation if they need to and see if he could start playing any better than he has in a Cardinals uniform. Back to Flaherty and Montgomery, these guys both have expiring contracts and I think could have value in the market as of now, especially Jordan Montgomery, as he's posted a 3.69 ERA and a 116 ERA plus. But from what I've heard on social media, it sounds like he hasn't talked about extending his contract at all, but I'm not sure, so I would want to see some prospects come in for a pitcher that we don't know if he's going to stay around. Moving into Flaherty, I want Flaherty traded as well because he's always going to be an injury risk and he hasn't been good for the Cardinals ever since 2019. I mean, this season he has a 4.95 ERA, and when it comes with injury problems, you got to get rid of a guy like that, and bringing in about anything would be a win in my book. The last move I want to see come from the Cardinals this deadline is Tyler O'Neill being sent somewhere else. And this one hurts to say, as I love Tyler O'Neill and I will never forget his tear in August of 2021. Tyler O'Neill has another year of arbitration after the season, which means he won't hit free agency until 2026, but O'Neill has only played 125 games the past two seasons and has posted an 85 OPS plus during that period. He may not have much value in the market, but the Cardinals need to lay off one of their outfielders, and O'Neill just makes the most sense as they still have Dylan Carlson, who can play center, who also has more control, and even though he is still an injury risk as well, he's a slightly better injury risk and he often stays on the field more than O'Neill has. This is why I believe Tyler O'Neill needs to be shipped out this deadline, along with Jordan Montgomery and Jack Flaherty. That's all I have to talk about today, guys. So with that being said, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.